I sent over 1 million emails last month, and 0 of them landed in spam. Today, I'm going to be showing you the exact cold email infrastructure that we use here at Savvy Capital in order to reach institutional investors at scale on a daily basis. If you don't know me already, my name is Alex. I started a capital advisory firm at 22 called Savvy Capital and subsequently brought in members of the team that have closed well over $80 billion in transactions. On this channel, I help agency owners, sales professionals, and financial professionals upscale their existing businesses or create whole new ones to meet the capital advisory model that has helped people generate millions of dollars over the last few years. At this point, if you've watched enough of my videos, then you know as well as I do that the highest leverage use of your time is on closing these massive transactions and taking your 3 to 10% cut. But in order to get that cut, you gotta find the investors that are hungry for the deals you are trying to sell them. The most consistent way by far that I've been able to do this is by getting to investors at scale. And the cold email infrastructure that I'm going to be breaking down for you today in this very video does exactly that. Most people are still either doing the traditional way or literally sending manual cold email out to investors. Today, I'm going to show you how you can never have to do either of those things again. I've got to say that this is for educational purposes only. You should speak to a lawyer before you do this. You should only be licensed in order to undertake these transactions. I will never make any claims about dollar amounts that you might make, and I sure as hell would not guarantee it. With that being said, let's hop right into it. Now, the first thing that you will see here is a number of campaigns that we've already ran for clients previously. 54 positive replies on 134 sends, 20 positive replies on 12,000 sends. The most important one here is this Lenders 2.0 campaign. 148,000 sends, 281 positive replies. Now, you'll see that there's another one, Equities. It's the final countdown. On that one, 60 positive replies for 70,000 sends. These are both for one client, totaling over 340 affirmative responses total. This boiled down into well over 100 meetings for our client with everybody around the globe that would be interested in both their equity as well as their debt offering to the market. Ultimately, this boiled down into 3 separate term sheets totaling over $25 million in interest. Now, in order to do this, you must be able to have the correct infrastructure in place to be able to go to market at this kind of scale. This includes a handful of components. Number one, you need to have the actual email infrastructure. That means taking email domains of various different types that are slight variations of the client's main domain with their approval and connecting them all to the one client domain. This allows you to send out as much as 10,000, 20,000, or even 30,000 emails per day. You can purchase this infrastructure from places like Thor's Hammer or cheap inboxes, just as we do. But here, we have the sauce. You see, I sold Thor's Hammer, and I know the infrastructure behind cheap inboxes, and so we are actually the supplier to the market for both of these kinds of things. So that first step, email infrastructure, you can only get it as good as you can get it with us. The second thing you're going to need is various databases in order to be able to go out to market. Some examples would be PitchBook, Preqin, CapIQ, Dakota, you name it. Apollo and LinkedIn even work really well. There's a recent update in ChatGPT where you can go in and say, I'm looking for this specific type of investor, and give them the exact thing you're looking for. Then you can feed it the CSV list. It can go through every single row, and it will actually put together the correct list of investors from your much broader list of investors. The other thing that you're going to need is databases. The number one place to get the largest access to institutional investor data across the internet right now is investoroutbound.com. That has over 2.1 million verified investor contacts at the institutional level. This is where we pull our lists, and I would highly recommend that you do the same. Now, once you have these broader lists, you can put them into ChatGPT-5, and it will actually segment these lists and even filter out anything bad. It takes a little while, 24 to 36 hours, depending on the size of the list, but it is well worth it. This exact infrastructure has allowed us to meet some of the world's largest private equity, private credit, venture capital, fund of funds, hedge funds, you name it. We've met with some of the largest groups in the world, from Goldman Sachs all the way to Sequoia and Point17. You name it, we've been able to speak with them directly. Even guys at BlackRock and Blackstone. The next step is going to be the email copy framework, and I will actually show you today exactly what we used on this specific campaign. So this specific campaign, we had very straightforward sequences. Blank, a skincare company, is looking for a private lender for $15 million US to grow their company. For collateral, they have $20 million in assets and $66 million in revenue. Could you be our lender for this? Best regards, Signature. This is very, very easy to do. And what you'll see here is that the easier that and shorter that you make this, the more punchy it's going to be. Now, what you do once you have this initial copy written down on Google Docs is you take that copy and you put it directly into GPT and spin tax it. This spin taxing will give you what you're seeing on the screen right now. Basically, a number of different options for Smart Lead or Instant Lead to choose from when sending out to avoid spam. This effectively creates a number of different variations, all saying the same thing to the end receiver. Now, in this specific example, I've included the exact amount that you're looking for, that the client was looking for, but I wouldn't necessarily do this every single time. Usually when you're going out on equity, you're going to want to more so just highlight, rather than the amount of assets or the revenue that the company is doing, some sort of very impressive highlight about the business, whether they won some sort of award, whether the business is doing a large amount of revenue at a very high margin, whatever the case might be, this is the spot that you want to put it, is in this second line. First line is going out to the asking whether or not that specific lender is interested, or private equity firm or venture capital firm is interested in these kinds of deals. Lastly, you want to put a CTA. You want to make sure there's a call to action asking them whether or not they're prepared to meet for this specific deal. The last thing you want to make sure that you do is always turn on opt-out options for the end receiver. As well, you want to make sure that your signature for each and every domain includes the address as well as the company name, so that they can easily be identified in order to remain compliant with CAN-SPAM laws, which once again, I would also reference a legal opinion in order to make sure that you're getting it right. The other thing you'll see is that I've made the subject line work really well. First name, review needed for private lending. Now, these guys are in private credit, and so they're very likely to see something like that and respond, especially if you put their first name or the company name in there. I would opt for first name. Now, in this specific example, I actually only use one follow-up message. Blank, did you get my last email on lending from company name? Is this something you could help with? This is going to prompt them to check the last message, and you can run a few of these follow-up messages that are short, punchy, and get them to refer to the initial email that you sent out. This is going to be the quickest and most concise way to ensure that if your first message got lost in the inbox, your second and third one will be seen for sure. Now, for Spintax, you can easily use this Spintax Baby ChatGPT app. And so you'd put your message in, hey, name, is company name investing in medical tech. Company has been doing 55 million per year at 30% net margin and ready to raise and closing out their round. If you say closing out the round, you're cruising urgency. When would be best to discuss? Thanks. And then this app will automatically spin tax the email as needed. So there you go. And then you take that, you read through it to make sure that it all makes sense, because sometimes the many variations don't quite add up. So you need to make sure that you go through it, throw it back in your Smart Lead or Instant Lead campaign, and you're ready to go. The last relevant part of all of this is actually setting everything up in Smart Lead. So you want to make sure your sequences are all set up, and then you go to Setup. For the type of sender accounts we use with Outlook, it's 882 total sender accounts. Each of those is sending somewhere in the ballpark of 7 per day. So your total available sending volume is 5,600 sending per day. You want to only be sending Monday to Friday during working business hours, and set your campaign start date whenever you're going to set it. From there, you're going to want to make sure that you turn on boosting your deliverability by sending emails in plain text without HTML. Go 50% follow-ups and 50% new leads. Send to all, and then make sure you have IntelliCategorize using Smart Leads AI on to make your life a whole lot easier when people start responding. Once you've done that, you're pretty well good to go. Save and next. You'll go to a final review, take a look and make sure that everything's good to go, and send it out. Now, if you want to get a little tricky, there are additional things you can do. You can implement GPT for Sheets in order to pull the information from the person's LinkedIn or their website in order to add a custom first line to the email. That's something that I'll probably cover in another video. Now, what's really important here is that these messages are going out as a means of facilitating a primary communication, the first touch point. Now, people might respond and say, I'm not interested. People might not respond at all, even though they're really good options. So once again, when you're going into GPT, if that's the option that you're going to choose, you're getting GPT to verify your list, you can then ask GPT things like, pull out the absolute top 20 people in this list, pull out the top 30. And this is what separates the good from the great in this game, okay? If you are willing to pick up the phone and start dialing when it gives you a short list of investors that would be interested in the opportunity, that is what is going to separate you from 99% of people that are only willing to click go on an outbound email campaign and let it ride from there. Okay, that is really the secret sauce, is low-key the traditional method. But when you can do the traditional method, in addition to the scaled outreach, that is when you're going to seriously win. The other thing I'll mention is just the importance of speed to lead here. As soon as somebody's responding, you want to make sure that either yourself or an inbox manager is in that inbox responding at minimum daily, preferably within the hour that you receive that message. That is going to considerably increase your affirmative response rate and the amount of guys that you actually get onto meetings. The other thing, as always, is that you want to make sure that you're booking meetings within 2 business days, 3 business days maximum with these interested prospects so that you get them while they're hot. This is a sales process just as much as anything else is, and the more that you can remember that, the better off you're going to be. That's pretty much it for this video. If you want to learn how to close $100,000 all the way up to $100 million, then you're going to want to make sure that you watch this next video. It breaks down the entire capital advisory business model. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.